Hello, YouTube. It has been a long time, but we're back. And I don't know if you can tell, we're in a different vehicle. Yep. Casper, the friendly host, never got to go on that really big trip with me. You know, I had bought Casper like last December and was trying to prepare the van. You know, Casper, the friendly host, for those of you who are just tuning in, was a 2010 Dodge Grand Caravan SXT that I had bought used, and was in process of preparing it for travel because I'm hoping to retire from work soon and pretty much do a lot of traveling and stuff and just work on fun projects. But it kind of didn't work out that way. I had prepped Casper, that was the van, and had it almost ready. Then it started running into some mechanical issues. Well, let's start from the beginning. When I first bought the vehicle, it had issues, and I was prepared to spend a couple $1,000s fixing it up. So, the first thing I did was I had it taken into a shop, and they replaced the fuel injector, did the brakes, and some other stuff on it. I think they did the ignition coil and a bunch of other stuff. So that got the car running nicely, and I was able to use it. But it still had issues like with the air conditioning, which I didn't think would be too expensive to fix, and that seemed to be that was pretty much the only problem at that point. So I'd been using the van, and you had seen me building it out and decorating it and trying to make it look all nice and homey and everything. And then just about 3 weeks ago, the fuel injector problem came back. Yeah. So I took it to Marcelo, and he was able to fix it, and that was like another $1,000, a little bit over $1,000. And I had just bought like brand new tires and, felt like it was almost ready to go. But when the fuel injector issue came up, I went and had that repaired and was notified there was some oil leaks and other stuff that needed to be fixed, so I was going to have that done. But like 2 days after getting the injector fixed, the car started stalling. It would stall whenever I was parked, not parked, but at a stoplight, whenever I was stopped and had the car in drive and wasn't moving. So if I was moving even 1 mile per hour, the car wouldn't stall. But if I was at a stoplight and the car was in drive and not moving, the car would stall. I found out about it like in a really stressful way. I was on I-95 heading to South Florida and decided I was going to pull over and, to eat lunch somewhere. And when I got off the exit ramp and hit the stoplight, that's when the car first died. And of course you got cars behind you honking, and it was really stressful, and I couldn't figure out what was wrong. I had to coax the car to run, and got it to start back up and drive it. And timing's like everything. I normally emphasize having AAA plus if possible, so you can have your vehicle towed. But all my tows have been used up due to emergencies that happened throughout the last couple months, which I won't go into details, but basically a bunch of towing emergencies. Not necessarily my car, but other people in the family. So I was out of tows. So I ended up having to drive the car back like that. And, I drove it back and took it to Marcelo at Express Tech Auto to look at it. And then he said that he felt it was a transmission solenoid, which would be about $1,000 to fix. And, I asked him, I said, well, will that really fix the problem? How sure are you? And he said he's about 90% sure. Now, keep in mind, I had just sunk a couple $1,000s into the auto repair, not related to that issue, but other issues like the injector and other stuff. So I was like, well, if you can tell me for sure, I'll have it done. But if you are only 90% sure, I'm not sure I want to sink another $1,000 plus into the vehicle repair and then have that not be the problem. So let me decide what to do. So after thinking about it, I was like, you know what? It probably is the $1,000 repair because Marcelo, you know, is pretty good. You know, he's like a master mechanic with like, I think 30-something years, 30 plus years of experience. And you know, he's never done me wrong, and has even done free work for me when I was in Little Blue. I don't know if you guys recall that. And good enough, he came out to the park where I was staying to try to fix the van up so I could drive it out of there for free. You know, so Marcelo's a mechanic I trust. So anyhow, I decided to go ahead and give it up, because I was like, well, I've already sunk close to $8,000, $8,500 total into fixing up Cash with a Friendly Host, and I was looking at spending another $1,000, and it still might not fix the problem, and didn't want to deal with it. So I posted the van up for sale on Facebook Marketplace, and there was like an overwhelming response. Like more than 20 people wanted it, because I priced it really low. I priced it like at $3,000. That was like selling it at a huge loss. So all these people were, you know, I listed in the description what it was, a camper van that I built, and how, you know, it ran fine on the, you know, like normal. And the issue with it was that whenever you were at a stoplight, I mean, when you were stopped and then park, the car, I mean not park, but stopped and then drive, the car would die, you know, stall out and die. And I had been driving it around as like a manual drive. And so this girl from Colorado contacted me, or that's, you know, what her address said it was. But anyhow, she contacted me wanting it, and then her dad came over, and he came over all the way from Mims to Brevard County. He came over here, you know, to Cocoa where I was, and tried to check out the vehicle. So I took him out, and you know, he wanted to take it to the mechanic. We tried the mechanics. They didn't want to see it right away. They wanted to have they wanted to schedule an appointment for like the next day. And meanwhile, I'm passing up other people who were trying to buy the van, you know. But I let him drive it around, and we drove it on the interstate. We did everything. He saw it stall. He saw the issue. He thought it might be like a stuck, what's that stuff called? It allows like the gas mixture and stuff. But normally on, you know, on older cars, you can tighten a screw to adjust like the idle, like an idle adjustment. It seemed like just the idle was off, you know. But on these new cars, they're all electronically controlled with sensors and the computer and all this other stuff, so you can't just twist a screw and fix the problem. So they weren't going to buy it yet. You know, the girl wanted to hold off, and then, you know, but meanwhile there were like 20 other people wanting it, so we let her know, you know, took pictures of all the Facebook responses and stuff, and then, you know, I left with the car. But then like 5-10 minutes later, the dad calls me and says she's changed her mind and wants it, because, you know, she was afraid somebody else would get it. So then I go to close out the deal, and they didn't have cash, which I asked for cash in hand to try to simplify, you know, straightforward transaction. But they wanted to do like electronic transfer, you know, an electronic fund transfer with Venmo or Cash App or whatever. So I said, look, we can go through Zelle, okay, because Zelle is somewhat secure, you know, as far as once the money goes through and whatnot. And they said, okay, they could do Zelle. So I told the girl to Zelle me like $1 to make sure that, you know, it was going to the right account and all that. So she did that, and I got the $1. Then she tried to Zelle the $27.50, okay, and the bank froze it. Yeah, so what should have been a simple transaction became a not simple transaction. So she called the bank, and they said she should clear. It didn't clear. She tried to send some more. I think she had to send like $3,500 or something, and the whole system was jammed up now. So we said, look, we'll wait till the next day, and, you know, if it goes through in the morning and they give me $3,500, I'll give them the difference of the money and whatnot after I check with the bank and clear everything to make sure that I'm not going to get scammed. And so the next morning, it still hadn't cleared. Yeah. So, you know, and I had to be at work and stuff. So there was only $1 in my account from the Zelle. The vehicle still wasn't sold. So I let her know. I said, hey, you know, if are you guys wanting this? Because if you are, I need to hear from you, and your dad needs to bring the cash, and then we can close it out. Otherwise, I'm gonna relist it back on Facebook Marketplace so those other people can have a shot at getting it. You know, they can come by and check it out and everything, because I've already missed several sales from dealing with this for 2 days. So anyhow, the girl says she's gonna call her bank fraud department and stuff, and get the Zelle released. So she did that, and the money got released. So the $27.50 ended up in my account. And I was like, okay. And then I need to verify with Zelle, you know, so I called my bank and let them know the situation, and they said, yeah, once the money's in your account, they can't really pull it back, so you should be good. Treat it like cash. So I can go ahead and sign over the title and everything to them, and everything should be good. So I did that, and her dad came by to pick up the vehicle. Meanwhile, he had made an appointment with a local mechanic here, and took it in there for them to look at. And, you know, so then like about an hour or so later, I get this text from him saying the mechanic wanted $8,000 to fix the van. Yeah, the mechanic, Triangle Auto, around Cocoa area here, said that it was a shot transmission and a shot, what's that thing next to the transmission? Torque converter. Both would have to be replaced, and it would be like $8,000. Yeah, the dad, of course, blew a gasket. And the girl blew a gasket. And I'm like, what the heck? I think the mechanic's trying to ream them. Because, you know, Marcella said it would be about $1,000. I'm not going to go around and sell a car to somebody knowing that it's going to need like an $8,000 or $10,000 repair or whatever. I'm not the type of person. So they're looking at it, and I'm like, okay, what I'll do is I'll offer to buy the car back from the girl, okay, which is like going above and beyond, I think. So I text her and said, look, I'll take the car back from you, minus $100 to transfer the title back to me, because I've already transferred the title. I would have to pay, you know, destroy the title that I gave them, then have a new one made, so I have to get a replacement title for the vehicle. So she said that they wanted another day to look at it, you know, at their mechanic and stuff. They ended up taking it all the way back to where she was. Okay, not Colorado. It turned out she wasn't in Colorado, but somewhere else in Florida, but far away. So they took the car, and supposedly we were going to the mechanic to have it looked at, and she had requested till Thursday. That's when the mechanic would see it. So I said, okay, I'll hold it till then. So then on Thursday, I didn't hear back from her. I texted her, still didn't hear back from her. And this is where it gets really bad. So my van, which ran, except for that issue, that stalling issue, was what I had been driving, you know, when I needed to go somewhere. And I was using my wife's car to drive around town, go to work and stuff. So I had like all these doctor's appointments and stuff I had to go to, you know, at the VA and stuff. So right after selling the van, I was reduced to one car, my wife's car. So I take it out and go to the VA. And sure enough, the very first time I go to the VA on that evening, I take off from work trying to do some blood work and stuff. Get to the VA, find out they're closed. Come to start her car, and it's dead. It will not start. Yeah. So, and then the anti-theft lock light kept coming on, blinking and stuff. So that's what I thought was the problem. And it was going to call it tow, then call Uber. I had a whole bunch of other issues that occurred where I had to call Uber even before this. So it was like an ongoing money pit, you know, as far as like paying for Uber rides to the mechanic, from the mechanic, and you know, mechanics all the way in Palm Bay, which is far, you know, from where I am. And so it was getting expensive, not necessarily on the car, but on the rides and stuff. So the AAA shows up, AAA shows up, and the guy jump starts the car. Yeah. So he's able to jump start it, and I'm like, great, it jump started. But right after he jump started it, the power steering on her car stopped working. So the car had a hard time steering. And I was like, great. Now what do I do? So I could have tried to drive it home like that, but I decided I should have it towed to the house. That way, you know, I have time to think, because I'm out there. It's getting dark at the VA, and I'll just go ahead, since the tow truck was there. I didn't want to risk trying to drive the car home from the VA clinic and then having it die on me on the interstate or something. So I started to do that and had the vehicle towed. So got it towed to the house, and next morning, I drove the car to work, and it started and ran fine. And then had to go to the VA again in the afternoon right after work, because the lab had been shut down the day before when I showed up, so it was a second trip to the VA. So I go over there and I do the blood work and everything. And I come out, and sure enough, I'm trying to remember the exact sequence. No, that's not what happened. Because the lab had been closed the day before, because I got there in the afternoon, I decided I needed to go during the daytime to make sure they were open. So I'd asked my boss at work if I could leave in the middle of the day, go to the VA, get the blood work done, and then come back and finish my shift, which is what happened. So I went to the VA, got the blood work done, got out, and sure enough, the vehicle wouldn't start again. And I'm like, great Scott, the vehicle's dead. So I started to call for the Uber ride, and was going to have the vehicle towed over to Express Tech in Palm Bay to have Marcelo, my mechanic, look at it. And that was the plan. So then I called AAA. They were on the way of sending someone. And then I called the Uber ride, to do another ride back to my job. And everything was good. So after hanging up with everyone, I stuck the key back in the car, and sure enough, turned it. It started right back up. So I called and canceled the Uber, and was getting ready to cancel the tow. Yeah, I did actually cancel the tow. So then I started to drive the car back to work, and on my way back to work on I-95, the car suddenly lost complete power. Yeah, everything shut off. And I'm on the interstate at lunchtime or whatever. So everyone passed me by getting angry, and I got my blinkers on, pull over the side of the road, and I'm now stuck on I-95. And I have to be back at work. So I call AAA and arrange for the vehicle to be picked up, call Uber, and get back to work. Now this is just a couple days ago, mind you. This is just that past week. It was last Wednesday, I think. It was Wednesday or Thursday. Yeah, it was last Wednesday. So anyhow, I make it. I call the Uber. The Uber lady shows up, and she's able to take me back to work. AAA picks up my vehicle and takes it to Marcelo at Express Tech, and now I'm without any car, and I still have to work. And to make it worse, my job, the other workers, the other janitors, cleaners and stuff, there were two others that were out. That meant I had to do extra duty. So, so I was supposed to be working like overtime, and here I am not even able to finish a day. So they were like, well, we really need you to come in. So my coworker was going to pick me up and drop me off. Two different coworkers would pick me up, and one would pick me up in the morning, and the other would drop me off at the end of each day. So that was the plan, and that's what did happen. And then Marcelo was able to get back with me, and initially everyone thought it was the alternator. That's what everyone thought when the car went dead. But he said it was actually had to do with the AC compressor had shut down completely and locked up, and belt broke, and the whole system shut down. So that's what he said was wrong. And so I told him to go ahead and fix that, and even try to fix the AC situation with that car. And but I would need money. So and by now it was Thursday, and I hadn't heard back from the girl. So I tried to contact her, and she still didn't reply. So I presume that's at this point that she's keeping the vehicle. that I guess their mechanic was able to look at it, and it's not going to be the 10,000 or 8,000 the other guy was wanting. You know, I think the other guy was trying to ream them. So I'm hoping that's what happened, because I haven't heard back from her. But anyhow, I took the money there and used it to pay Marcelo. And so my wife's vehicle is working now, but I needed a vehicle. I mean, I could have kept driving my wife's for now, you know, but I needed a vehicle because I didn't want to be with one vehicle, and I want to prepare my van. You know, I'm trying to prepare for the road trip here. We're down to the last, you know, the last stage here before I retire and travel and do all that stuff. So I bought another vehicle, and you know, I had limited budget, very limited budget. So this is it. This is her. This is she. This is Faith. Stay tuned, and you'll learn more about Faith. Until next time, everyone, take care. God bless you all. Stay safe. Bye-bye now.